And welcome back, everyone, to our last race of today in our Celeste Any Percent League between Psyched and Millay. I am Electric, your commentator for this race. Super excited, as this is actually my first Celeste race to comm. And Artemis will be joining me for co-comms in just a little bit. But first, we've got these guys just about ready here with the screens cropped, file name ready to go. We should be getting that countdown in the chat any moment now. And Millay with a little bit of a delay as Psyched getting off to a head start. Millay being the kind of favorite in this match with 17 points compared to Psycked's 10 and 13 wins compared to Psycked's 7. So an obvious early favorite, but obviously we're going to have to go through the race to actually see what's going to happen. Nice introduction from both these guys. Don't really expect any major bobbles on this section, especially given the lack of dashing. And now we'll be moving on to the first real level of the game, the Forsaken City. Nice movement so far. Looks like Psych maintaining that nice early lead. And through all these sections, really the biggest thing you're watching for is the dash movement. You want to maintain that dash momentum as much as possible and try to get the most of a boost out of a dash as possible with each given dash. The way the dash mechanic works in this game is a little bit more complicated than it might seem on the surface, with things like Madeline's crouch state and obviously the movement of other objects in the level heavily affecting that. Ooh, and Millay taking the first death of the race here, taking a little bit further of a deficit in that early spike room there. And Psyched managing to get on top of Celeste Mountain into Chapter 2 now. Chapter complete with a 133, so Millay with about a 5-second deficit at the moment. Nothing too major, but obviously you don't really want to be at any sort of loss starting out the run, and especially you don't want to take that first death. And so now we're starting what's probably my favorite chapter in this game casually. I think the aesthetic is really cool, and the execution of the idea. I'm going to go ahead and assume that just about anyone watching this has played this casually at least once. And so just the way that they structure the dream segment, where you obviously know that something weird is going on, but you don't realize that it's just Madeline dreaming until the very end of the chapter. It's really good writing, I think, from a game that the story, it's a very well written story, but it's also not like a super in your face one, which I think is a really nice touch. And based on some of those sounds on the other end, it sounds like my co-commentator Artemis is back. How you doing today?
I am doing all right. Just needed some water. Need to rest my throat a little bit after all the commentating I've been doing.
Yeah, it's all good. Not too often that a restreamer ends up getting saddled with so much comms.
Yeah, I'm sure we could have found backups if I was more on top of it, but it just didn't happen that way, so it's all good. I like commentary.
Who doesn't? It's great to listen to and great to do, and for a race like this, it's still a pretty tight race overall. Looks like Millay is only about a room behind or so through this big Madeline chase section.
This is one of my,
as it were.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite chapters to watch. I love the dream the dream blocks. I really like watching the movement through them.
Yeah, there's such a cool mechanic, and I really love how the game introduces a major thing like that in each chapter and really tries to use it as much as possible within that chapter. And like for the most part, they don't entirely get rid of it either. Like I believe a few of those dream blocks show up in chapter 3 as well, right?
I believe so. And there's some in the Mirror Temple as well, I believe. Although I don't know if that's... I don't know if that's... Actually, I'm not sure. Because they have bubbles instead.
Yeah. The bubble mechanic also being a nice one. I was going to say Golden Ridge hopefully doesn't have any because the wind would just be obnoxious.
That'd be really interesting to see, though. Mixing wind and the dream blocks.
Oh yeah, would the dream block just like suck you in, you think, or would it introduce a new mechanic of like trying to lose as little momentum to the wind as possible because it would like preserve your speed?
I think you'd still have like the same momentum through the dream block like normal, but then when you exit the dream block, that's when the wind would really affect you.
Oh yeah, that'd be super hard to compensate for.
Especially on like the alternating wind where it's like sometimes blowing, sometimes not. All depending on cycles. It'd be really cool.
Yep. And so we're going through the hotel here. I gotta say, this was also like a really striking chapter to me casually. Although it's a little bit of a and Psyched, I think, taking their first death here in this room. These blobs are just like, it's really easy to kind of forget that they're there or just like not be paying attention to their cycle. And one false move here especially, and like with a lot of these platforms, it's a little bit hard to see when you're going by so quickly, but you have the like one-time touch like anemone, I guess you could call it. I've never known what that's supposed to be.
It's a
the,
dust
like,
bunny.
Tendrils. That's what they're supposed to be? The like tendrils sticking out that when you pass over them, then they become the mold?
Oh, the tendrils. I don't know. I thought you were talking about the black things with the red outlines. Those are dust bunnies for sure. I know that. But I don't know what the tendrils are supposed to be, I guess.
Yeah. Who knows? And especially these ones that dart across really fast. Like, I'm just really thankful that it's not 3B that has to be in the run. It's 5B, because 3B is just, oh man. Whenever I was trying to 100% Celeste, I remember like trying to finish 3B, and repeatedly I would quit and then come back days later and be like, oh, what part did I leave off on? And it was the same room every time, and I spent like a good 30 minutes on it each time. It was terrible.
Just get to that same point, you're like, I don't want to finish this again.
I don't want to do this.
Another thing about this chapter is, since everything is moving, there's a whole bunch of cycles you need to learn. You need to learn to cycle for each room normally as you'd do it in a run. But then if you die, then they're on a slightly different cycle and you need to adjust for that.
Yeah, and like the way the hotel specifically is laid out, I believe I've heard before from runners that Psych taking their second death. And so Millay gonna have a decent opportunity to catch up, both in the same room now for the first time since pretty early on in the race. And so, but I believe I remember a runner mentioning before that most of the room cycles will mainly move when Madeline is actually in the room, but with how many of the rooms are connected in the hotel, it's really hard to keep track of which ones cycles are actively going at any given time.
Okay, that makes sense. Ooh, that's a change in lead right there.
Yup, Millay taking the front runner position here by a good couple of seconds too, it appears. It's a little bit interesting calming Celeste as opposed to other like games where the timer isn't actually built into the game, because it looks almost like Millay is behind. Oh, and Millay failing a demo dash there actually.
Not getting the checkpoint either.
Yeah, that's really bad. Oh, falling right back into a deficit. So that gives Psych the lead again, although it doesn't look like by much. Taking another death in this room. So Millay briefly having a pretty decent lead by a good few seconds, but just due to not grabbing that checkpoint, it's one of those situations where it's just a little bit of time loss to ensure that you don't take a major time loss like Millay just did right now. And so both of them on the Oshiro chase though, so pretty close again.
Oh, looks like some strange movement from Psych there, but still got everything needed.
Yep.
But yeah,
and
that
Psych
what you were
is-
saying about the like take a little time loss to guarantee not a big one. Like, I mean, sometimes that gets you, especially in some of the other games as well. But this is a good case because like sometimes you get really consistent at it, and you're like, oh yeah, I won't need that. But in this race setting, if you do miss it, then you still have to continue.
Yup, exactly. You don't have that reset button right next to you, and I mean these guys normally would be just 8 minutes into a run. They're not attached whatsoever at this point. And so Sight getting out with, I believe that was an 8:15, Millay with an 8:18, so 3 seconds behind in this first race going into Golden Ridge. And let's see here. We've got the stat sheet from the back. So the resort was actually Sight's best chapter. So I think it's
Really?
kind of not. Yep. According to this stat sheet, which also says that Millay's best chapter is Summit. So Millay, hopefully, if Millay isn't in much of a deficit by the time they get to Summit, then I could certainly see them being able to pull off a win just from that dominance on that stage. But going off of this same chart, though, Psych's worst chapter is actually Ridge. So hopefully Psych is able to maintain this lead through here. Both our guys
I mean, we
played
had
just about again.
yeah, we had one death by Psyched. It was a very small death in that one bubble room with 2 keys. So
Yeah, pretty much just evened them out, I think.
pretty much.
Beautiful jumps up here. Can be some mildly risky movement here, but it looks like they're having it pay off really, really well.
Ooh, that's so pretty. But oh, Millay's
Oh,
missing
Millay
it.
ending up failing it, and
Millay.
that's a pretty long room to fail. Ugh. Those moving block rooms, like casually too, they're just a pain. But here especially, you can't make it go any faster, and it's effectively this game's equivalent of an auto scroller.
But out of any auto scroller, that's probably the best type of one to have, where you still have control
Definitely.
over it, but just slightly less.
Yeah, and the momentum from those blocks too can benefit Madeline in a couple of particular circumstances. So let's see here.
There we
Psyched
go.
with that.
Oh,
Oop! Psyched able to recover that from that unexpected bonk there.
not too bad. Oh,
Ooh,
never
but taking a
mind.
death up at the top of that room.
Changed my
That's-
mind completely. That's a change in lead. A complete
Yup, and
change in
taking
lead.
another death. Psyched showing us why Ridge is his worst stage. Is this win cycle here. And honestly, casually, I didn't realize there was a win cycle there for a long time. Which is just stupid gameplay on my part, but even once you realize there's a cycle there, it's still hard to... And Millay just getting bodied by a snowball. What is happening in Golden Ridge today? Oh, man.
I remember those
This is-
snowballs casually, because I was not going nearly as fast, so I was like, oh, I know there's going to be a snowball in a couple seconds, and I still ran right into it.
Yep, it's hard not to, especially with, like, how the wind is just fighting against your forward progress, effectively.
Mm-hmm. But if you try to, like, turn around, then you go so far back because of a wind. It's...
Yep. And it's
Uh.
very, very difficult to actually, like, mentally calculate that speed change while you're trying to do that movement, especially since you don't see any of that type of movement in the standard game. So Millay coming out with a pretty significant lead here, 11:15 compared to 11:20. Remember, Millay was 3 seconds behind going into this stage, so nice 8-second makeup there as these guys go into the Mirror Temple. To go ahead and grab that mixtape.
Now, this stage, I guess I haven't played through all of the, like, the B and C sides, but when I played through Mirror Temple, it's, I hated it, honestly. Like, and that was not because of the design, because I think the design is one of my favorites in the game. It was just, like, actually playing it and figuring it out was just...
Yeah, the difficulty level is pretty wide, and especially when you get to I forget what those monsters are called, but the eye monsters.
Oh,
like
I
in
know
the
what you're
back
talking
half,
about. Yep.
those are just so aggravating, especially like when and Millay with that. Okay, it looks like a half yeet there basically.
Still got most of the way there, though.
Yeah, I'm sure Millay will take it. Can Sight get that full yeet? Sight with
Oh,
the
that was really
full
close.
yeet. Nice.
It's awesome.
Better than Millay's for sure. That's going to save him some time.
I guess
That yeet jump can be pretty daunting.
part of the reason I think is because this is such a maze. Like, it doesn't seem like it's necessarily fitting like the rest of it.
Yeah, and I mean, like,
I mean,
be
it
real,
fits
I never found the
story-wise,
tape
but-
here casually. Like, and part of that is just because, like, as you saw Sight with that room, like, in the earlier parts of this game in a speed run, a lot of the movement is kind of fighting against the dev intended routes, if you will. But when you start getting into this part of the game, you're really just doing dev intended stuff really fast, especially in B side. There's really not a whole lot of there is some stuff, as we're gonna see later on here with Bub Drop, but there's like most of the gameplay here is really just stock. So, but let's see how Millay fares with Bub's Drop coming up here.
I mean, there isn't, like, just based on their design, there isn't anything they really can do because they just removed everything.
Right, it's like nothing but spikes, and Millay not getting that drop there.
So I guess this is something I haven't understood yet because I don't watch enough runs. I don't understand how that trick works.
So I don't understand exactly the underlying mechanics of it either, but by doing the wall jump, what they're trying to do is get the game to think that so they're trying to self-destruct in the lower room, but make the game think that they entered from a different entrance.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and so
I
the
see
one-way
now.
platform that Millay, yeah, you're not supposed to be able to re-enter because of that one-way platform.
So they just need a
so-
really low jump to do it. Okay, I get it now.
You're doing a wall jump and a dash downward. The wall jump to cancel the vertical momentum, and then obviously the wall jump down, or the dash down to just get back down to the lower room. And yeah, dying in that room because the gateway is not supposed to be re-entered, it assumes that you went the other way, which is you
Makes
see
sense,
the result.
I guess.
Yeah, it's a weird trick, and I believe it's like the only one of its type really in the run. And fortunately with Celeste, you don't really have to deal with a lot of the like convoluted inner game mechanics like that, because like the categories pretty well always run on the most current patch, and the runners have pretty well agreed to make it glitchless. But I believe in the case of Bub's Drop, it's just like the checkpointing system being weird. It's not really a glitch, it's more so just like the way that specific checkpoint works out. It has a weird behavior,
Which is interesting, I guess. I mean, might as well use it if it's there.
right. And if the devs have acknowledged it and haven't done away with it with a patch, then and it's really amazing how active, and Psych having a lot of trouble with his Thera throw here.
Okay, all right, that works.
And he's finally able to get through this room.
But even because of that, we get right.
Millay
I was
also
trying to say
gonna
that.
be taking, yeah, this is a difficult room, as you can see by the number of deaths these guys are taking.
Like, Millay almost caught up almost entirely just because of that one room. It's a lot closer than I would have thought, I suppose.
Oh,
Ooh,
and Psych
even
taking
with
the
that
death on the
death.
final moving platforms. But like, look at the lead Psych is coming away with. Wow. That is incredible. This is, wow.
That's not nearly as much as I would have thought. Look at that. That's not that
Just
much
kind of
at
goes
all.
to show, like, even though B side is a pretty decent amount faster, I believe A side is like a minute 17, something like that, to get the tape, and then B side itself is like 240 something. And if you do all of standard Mirror Temple, it's over 4 minutes long, so you're saving at least 20 seconds. But like, the thing though is, like, the time save is pretty substantial, but like part of that is also considering that you're probably going to die there a fair amount unless you're Tej or some of these other like really top level runners. Because I mean, doing that stuff just at all is hard, and doing it fast is even harder.
Because I remember when that was found, like, I remember people were saying, like, there's no way I'm routing in B-side. It's not worth
Right.
that time save. And now I think we're at the point where we have to do it.
Yeah, if you want to be at the level that these guys are at, there's really no other option. Even with that number of deaths, I'm sure if one of them had opted for the standard, like, just do Mirror Temple route, they still would have been behind. Psyched with a like really, really nice lead. Let's see how they preserve this.
Ooh.
Yeah, Millay with that death, they really can't afford to take this, like, right now. At this, like, right now, I language so good.
We've both had some language issues today. It's...
Yeah, at least earlier I had the race to blame it on, but in this case, this is a good race all the way through. Not seeing any Dark World no reds in the middle of this 70 star.
Don't worry, last race when I was commentating, I accidentally called Bro Mario J-Mail. So, it wasn't intentional, but he was on the right side and he was doing worse.
And I also just really like to point out, for anyone that like forgot about these bounce things, or like if you haven't played this game casually, getting the precise angles that these guys are getting for those bounces off of the bumpers is really hard. Like and as you can see there with Scythe, like just barely misaligning it gets you such a drastically different trajectory afterward.
And like, I guess you would think in a game kind of like this that maybe they only have 8 angles, but I swear they have... It's a circle. It's not an octagon.
Yup. I think I think Madeline can only dash in the cardinal and ordinal directions.
Mm-hmm.
That's your today I learned, by the way. Cardinal obviously being north, south, east, west. Ordinal is what refers to like northeast, southeast, etc.
Huh.
I think Madeline can only dash in those 8, but I'm pretty sure that those bumpers can bounce in any direction, which is like, okay, game. You're only gonna let me move in these ways, but you can move in whatever way. Got it. Beautiful movement through this section, though, and especially this fast movement to get through battling. This fight was just so amazing casually.
Oh! It's taking death during the... I believe this is the dev intended shortcut.
Yup. Through that spike field there.
Yep.
Which is stuff like that casually you see it and you're like, I can't be seeing that right. There is no way that anyone could go through there.
I saw it and I was like, I don't think I can survive that. I'm just gonna not. I'll go around.
I'll go around. I want to enjoy this game slowly at least once.
I think I still beat this game in under 2 hours when I played it casually. And that was completely blind because I refused to watch any gameplay.
Yeah, I had never seen any gameplay going into it, but I think I took like a good 4 or 5 hours total my first time. And I didn't even go for strawberries really, so...
I kind of rushed mine as well. I haven't gone back since, but I'd like to go back and try to finish it.
Yeah, I ended up going back to try to do a 100% playthrough, and what stopped me was, of course, Golden Ridge. I was... As soon as I got to like Golden Ridge B-side, I was like, okay, I'm done. And Uni actually clarifying in chat that with the bumpers, I didn't realize this, but there is like, so the bumpers can throw you in any direction, but the like main directions, like the cardinal and ordinal, it does have a little bit of an area where it will try to throw you in the same direction. So it's like, if you hit towards north, then it'll probably send you north. But if you hit like right between north and then northeast, it'll send you in that right in between. So kind of interesting. So like you do have a little bit of leeway, but if you end up hitting it at just the wrong angle, then it could send you to some direction that you're really not expecting because you're so used to that tolerance.
Just even that slight difference, like maybe you need that full distance from hitting it on the right side, but you hit it like barely upright and you just can't get the distance to compensate for that slight change.
Yep. And I mean, with a game like this, we certainly have to give the developers praise for making deaths so quick because, I mean, there's a big difficulty ceiling, and I mean, if deaths were pretty long, this game would probably be a lot less popular as a speed game.
That's very, very true.
But we're seeing Sight with a pretty good lead coming up towards the end of this battle and fight here. I believe the I did you a favor text box appeared on Millay's screen about a good 20 seconds later or so.
Yep, so we're getting through, finishing up the chapter.
And Sight getting that level up, getting that second dash. I've always, like, I haven't put a whole lot of time into trying to learn speed tech for this game personally, but I've always wondered how hard it is to adjust to gaining Battlin's ability at like the very end of the run like this. Because you've done the whole run using single dashes, and all of a sudden, oh wait, I have another one. What?
I guess I did start trying to learn this game, and I guess I didn't get this far. But in the very little experience I have, I'd say that since the only stage that you have it is Summit, you only think about this extra dash in Summit. And since you get so used to playing it, then it's just like, oh yeah, I have that. In a sense, like, that's this chapter's gimmick.
Yeah, for sure. This chapter really just kind of revisits all the previous with that double dash. And so, in Summit, both these guys about 20 seconds apart. Now, like I said earlier, Millay's best chapter has been identified as Summit. So let's see if Millay can end up pulling this race back, or if Millay will end up having to fight in rounds 2 and 3 for this win. Because Millay is just knocking on the door of that top 4. He's currently 6th in standing. He needs 6 more points to usurp M Sushi, and then an additional 4 to get into the top 4, beating out Chai Kitty. So he's definitely going to want all the points he can get from this race.
So, excuse me. Yeah, we have seen. Oh, hold on. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, we've seen leads change in the ending like this before, and I mean, you have to remember, not only is there the 3,000 meter climb, but also the actual summit climb itself. There's a lot of pretty tight movement that the players are having to go through to get through the end here. And like, just watching this section right here, if Sykes had missed like a grab or just barely missed the Battling Orb or anything like that, that could have easily eaten away at like maybe a quarter of his lead alone from one mistake.
Yeah, and that's what I was trying to get to.
Throat just not letting you.
Yeah, that's why I need the water.
And that beautiful movement going through the dream block to get just that little extra speed on the way to hit that bounce platform.
Ooh, missing the dream block. Still alright though.
Yeah, Millay now in the dream section along with Psych, so...
What,
with Psych taking a second death, that's going to be at least a 5-second death, I believe.
That was strange, because it wasn't falling off the screen. I think they paused and died. I'm not sure. It was weird.
That was...
Maybe it was like a rage pause. I'm not entirely sure.
Galaxy hypers are dumb. Yeah, hyper dashing in general can be kind of weird, and Galaxy hypers are just...
Ooh.
Oh, I see. Yup. Okay. That makes sense as what probably happened. Was trying to hyper dash out of one of the dream blocks.
Oh, and then just... Okay. Yep.
Yeah, not actually managing to get the hyper. But Sykes making his way through the resort section. Let's see how Millay fares. But Syke not taking any deaths here, not giving Millay any room to breathe at all. And we're coming up here on the end of this section.
That was a strange death. I'm not entirely sure what happened.
Yeah, I was actually watching Syke's screen, so I didn't see what happened on Millay's side. Let's see. Syke now at 2,000 meters. Millay again with a death. That's pretty... Oh.
Looked like we went back left then right to restart the cycles. I think that's what happened at least.
Yeah, probably. It looks like about the same deficit starting the chapter, so unfortunately not making up any time despite Syke taking 2 deaths in the dream section. So Millay not really leaving themselves very much room to clutch this first win. Syke's gonna be moving into
This movement's scaring me.
Right. You're expecting him to move the block over, and nope, not today. Okay. I don't know where that yawn came from. This race is not boring at all.
No, I'm enjoying it. This is fun.
And it looks like Millay is getting
Hey.
decent bit closer. And Chai Kitty rating with a party of 11. We've got those Chai Kitties in chat popping in. Thank you so much for that raid. Chai Kitty, let me verify this. 4th place on our current any percent league standings. So currently got themselves a spot for the finals live at Pace, which, friendly reminder, !Pace in the chat in order to hear more about that event. I will be personally attending to partially calm those live finals. Super excited for that. So if you could check it out, definitely do so, because Pace is going to be awesome.
Yep, and I'll be there too for the entire time. It'll be fun to watch everything unfold, see the showcases. It'll be fun to actually help in the back end there too.
Absolutely. And while we're kind of thinking about that, watching both these guys finish up the Mirror Temple section of this final climb.
Final section before the actual summit part, I guess, is what I would
the summit
call
of
it.
the summit.
Yeah.
Those 2 elevators that Psyched just got past, those are so terrible casually.
Mm-hmm. Because you have the momentum of them going up, and it's just a mess. Actually relearning that.
Yeah, these guys make it all look way too easy.
That's what speedrunning's all about, though.
Yup. Millay taking that death there instead of the platform.
Yeah. It's slightly overshot it, but
the way that these platforms, like, they'll stick and then kind of jerk back down, it's so hard sometimes to, like, actually time your jumps to hit them while they're still emerged. So Millay making his way up to the summit as Psyched passes by 28, I believe that flag was, or that may have just been flag 20, because I know he's pretty far already.
I think that must, yeah. So that's...
You have 19, yeah, that was definitely 20 then.
Going into the, I believe
Oh yeah,
this
we
is
totally
the
forgot
updraft.
to point out that door skip. That door skip was really nice from both of them.
I saw it and I was like, oh yeah, door skip, that's cool. And then did not mention it whatsoever.
Yeah, so I think it was really, as far as like the big tricks in the run, it was really only Millay failing demo dash that kind of got in the way as far as those track things go. Because both of them got yeet, although Psyched, I think, got kind of a better yeet jump out of it.
Yep.
And oh wait, I forgot though how much trouble Millay had with Bub's drop. That's right.
That's right. They failed it twice, I think. And I don't know if you've been seeing this, but Psyched has got stuck at checkpoint 17. I believe he had 3 deaths on that, which was kind of big.
Pretty uncommon, yeah. Especially on something that you're as used to practicing as Summit.
Did a final few checkpoints here.
I'm not liking the angle he got there, having to go back to the platform. But giving Millay a pretty decent opportunity to catch up. Millay going from probably a good 25-30 second deficit to down towards like 15.
Especially if that keeps happening.
Yep.
It may not have been a huge death, but like, it's getting to the end here. You don't want to be making any mistake.
Yeah, a death's a death ultimately.
Like that was maybe a second, but these seconds are adding up.
Yeah, and you really, like, with these golden feather sections through these spikes, you really just want to get them first try if you possibly can. Man, my hands were so sore after doing this casually because I had to just keep redoing the golden feathers over and over.
Did you play with like the joystick for that or not?
Yeah, I was even
Okay.
playing on a controller, and I tried D-pad for a bit, tried joystick, and it was just none of it was really working out for whatever reason. But Psyched Run working out with a 30-28 to clinch this round 1 of 3. So Millay gonna have some work coming up if they want to come out of here with that final win. So yeah, about 18 seconds behind in this first race. Yeah, D-pad feathers definitely sick. It was not it was just because the feathers were being really bad to me with a stick, and so I was like, oh well, maybe D-pad would be better. And then I tried once and was just like, no, let me just grin and bear it. Let me just deal with stick.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting called out for using keyboard feathers. You wouldn't be getting called out if you just switched to the proper equipment to control feathers. Forehead. All right, so got these new file names going in. And Millay readying up in the chat. Psyched, soon to follow, I'm sure. As we go into round 2 of this best of 3. Yeah, so the reason for the strange file names is that is the cheat prevention for Celeste. So we make random file names that the racers have to use whenever they start the run to verify that they're not just replaying a video of a pre-recorded run or playing a task or any other weirdness like that. It's the same reason why if you watch any Odyssey players, their system date and time on their Switch will be set to a really weird date. That's because also we at GSA asked them to switch it to that date to verify that it's not cheating.
We try to make sure that all the cheat preventions aren't actually losing them time. Like, at least as far as I know, this file name doesn't change with time at all because you enter it before time starts.
Right.
And then, like, Odyssey, the date is all before the race starts. And even by hitting, like, the right button in Mario 64, like, assuming you do it at the times we have, like, at doors and whatever, it doesn't lose any time.
Right. You have a lot of opportunities to just do that really quick camera shifting. And someone in chat saying that it wouldn't prevent a task. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure
That's
how tassing goes for this game. But I was actually just thinking of like other games where the RNG seed is partially based on file names. Like you're definitely right that now that I'm thinking about it, like there's not really RNG to this run to have a seed. So yeah, you'd have to put in like yeah. If you were to use a task, you'd also have to put forth more effort than anyone else that's ever made a task because you'd have to make that task look like a human player, and that's pretty difficult.
Yeah, because sure, you could make a task and play it back, but like you said, it's so much more effort. And the people who are in the tournaments are already skilled enough to be in the tournament to begin with. So making a task on top of that is just...
getting this far, and especially like with the fact that like this is a tournament with a cash prize on the line, that the final 4 are going to a live event. You can't exactly cheat at a live event, so you know it's kind of a bit of a moot point in some ways, but both our guys starting out, nice intro movement yet again. You really don't expect there to be any sort of issues with that very, very introductory movement.
I mean, Psych had a little bit of issues, but it looked like Millay had some a little after that, so still pretty close.
Millay falling just a little bit behind from a couple of like small movement errors throughout the Forsaken City.
Oh, Millay taking a second to go back to fix it up, but
Sykes with that nice delayed dash there. Millay yet again taking the first death of the race as Sykes finishes out with a 134 in the Forsaken City.
all right, going into the dream. I guess I don't remember what this chapter is called.
It's Awaken, I think.
Old Site.
Oh yeah. I forget that the locations have names, and then I think like the chapter has. Oh wait, no, I think I'm actually thinking of the sub-chapter name because there's like the sub-chapters.
Oh yeah.
Because I think it's like the very last sub-chapter of this chapter is called Awaken.
Yeah, because that's when you actually.
Oh yeah,
wake
and
up.
Playful Piano saying that specifically the sub-chapters have song names.
Oh yeah.
And it's just
I didn't
Awake.
think about that.
Yeah, I never realized that either. The more you know. And apologies for like I know that I'm getting some things wrong. This is like my first time commenting this game, and I have been trying to learn as much as I can over the past few weeks beforehand, but obviously a couple of things like slip out.
And I'm just here to fill in. I know some about Celeste, but not as much as I guess I'd like to know. I don't watch enough of it.
It's certainly one of those games that I always whenever I see it around, I try to watch it, and like I'm still working on building up a good like a substantial follow list of Celeste runners. Like I have a good like 5 or 6 that I follow already, but I'm still working on expanding that, of course.
All right.
And now Psyched finishing up, getting into the Awake section.
Yes.
So
Awake
only a couple of
chapter.
seconds apart, actually, it looks like.
I believe this is similar to what we saw last race, isn't it?
Yep. It's just a couple of seconds apart, finishing up chapter 2. Now we go into Resort. Remember, we're kind of expecting Psych to take a bit of an early lead again here, or rather maintain the already early lead. And, you know, actually thinking back, I want to say... Wait, no, never mind. I was thinking that for some reason that Millay started this chapter ahead, but then I remembered Millay briefly got ahead before the demo dash fail.
Yep.
Forgot exactly how that sequence of events
Just
played
a
out.
slight change of lead, but... And here, beginning movements of...
3B is the best soundtrack, and that's just how it is. You know, normally I would say that, like, hard viewpoints like that are wrong, but I think I agree with you there. It is the best soundtrack. 3B is so fire.
I need to listen to all of the soundtrack. I still don't think I've heard every song.
Yeah, all the B-sides in particular are just really good.
Just the music in general in this game is really good. A lot of work went into it.
Yup. Just the whole game feels like such a passion project, and it's so great.
Oh.
Yeah, Millay with that rough death in the key room. If you're gonna die anywhere, like just generic room types, you don't want it to be a key room, because pretty much all of them take a pretty long time.
Yeah, I think the only exception to that is in Ridge with the bubble, where there's only 2 keys. But still, it's not what you want to be seeing.
Right.
Alright, so now we're starting to clean the mess here.
You're cleaning up all that clutter. I do have to say that it's a little bit frustrating how they like lock you out of the different areas after you clean them up. Because like I feel like in my casual playthrough, the very first time I played, like I almost feel like that prevented me from finding the heart. And I think too, like thinking back, don't you have to go in a particular order through the 3 sections in order to get to the heart?
I believe so, although I'm not.
I know there's
certain on
at
that.
least one that you have to do before a different one, and it's like I know one of them, the ending room, has a secret exit too. Anyway, I mean this is any percent. This isn't all berries. This isn't all hearts.
Don't get to see everything, but we get to see enough to enjoy the game.
It's in the laundry area, I believe, that that stuff, that like secret exit happens.
Yeah, I think that's right. Seems familiar to me.
Yeah, you would jump up through that drain that's to Sykes right now. Just in general, the level design is just so great. Now, let's see, Psyched with this switch room as Millay just opening up the door there. Psyched getting close here to the demo dash.
I bet they're gonna go. Ooh, okay. Probably gonna go for the checkpoint again, like last run. I'd assume so. Oh, they did not.
And it's
but they
free.
got it.
It is free. Beautiful.
Worried it was gonna make the same mistake Millay made, where they didn't get the checkpoint and then died.
And that is, for those that don't know, that is a pixel perfect dash. You are not actually like clipping through anything. There just happens to be just enough space for Madeline's crouched hitbox to get through that little area. And both of them on the Oshira chase. This was another one of those casual things. It was just like this. It started off innocent and easy enough, but then over time it just got so difficult. And co-commentator seems to have abandoned the race in favor of chatting about Factorio.
I'm getting involved in that.
Can we get some thonking in the chat? I don't think that GSA has a thonk emote enabled, unfortunately, but
I don't think
if you have
so.
any sort of, if you have any sort of thinking or emote,
Monka.
just toss it on out. Monka. We're coming up now on Golden Ridge. Speaking of monkas,
Yeah, it's not a good place to be. I mean, it's part of a run, but it's still not a good place to be.
right? You just want to get in and out as quickly as possible. Yeah, and so Millay really just a couple of rooms behind at the moment. Very, very close still.
You said this was one of Psych's worst ones, I think? If I remember right.
Yes, let me recheck that stat sheet just to make sure. Yep, Ridge is Psych's worst. Now, when we say best or worst, that is the runner's average on that chapter is the furthest away from the league average on that chapter. Shout outs to Troy of Athens. He's actually the one that updated and maintained the stat sheet for us, and he's the one that actually performed those calculations. So it's basically whoever's, like in this case, Psych's average ridge is worse than everyone else's average ridge. Psych will win because he did Archie.
No, Millay, right at the end.
That's rough. on that moving block section. And of course, Sykes already went through that just perfectly.
Not as many issues as last race because we saw huge, like the gain and lead Millay had. But
Now let's see here.
believe Millay just died again, but I'm not sure. Thought I saw it out of corner of my eye.
Yeah, it can be a little bit hard. Like, I was saying earlier that it's nice how fast deaths happen, but it is also, like, from a commentator's perspective, it's like a blink of an eye that it happens in.
Because I'm looking at one,
really be watching.
and then I try to look over to see a death, like that.
Yeah.
And
like,
then all of a sudden
I was about
it's
to say,
just
like, did you see that one from sight? So
I did. But it's like...
I guess it's not quite as difficult as we make it out to be sometimes.
But I mean, like, you're paying attention. It's like intense movement. When you have corner of your eye, you see black, and you're like, did they die? I mean, you look over, and it's like, they must have. And you look over, and they're dead. Everything just falls apart.
This is certainly a speed game that is very much played on the bleeding edge. And sometimes it unfortunately shows. My personal suggestion is always to submit for any sort of like marathon thing like that. It's always great to have the experience of running something for a marathon. And anything with this game, like D-sides, would be really, really cool to see. Because I like those kind of extension categories like that don't really get as much love as like all red berries or all hearts and etc.
I feel like in general it's kind of how it is because a lot of the bigger marathons only show the main categories. So even the smaller ones that are arguably less important, like, but they're still fun, and that's ultimately why we speedrun in the first place. They don't have to be popular to be enjoyable, so seeing smaller categories is always fun.
Yeah, and a lot of marathons, like for bigger games that have a like pretty good presence already. Like for instance, back at AGDQ, they ended the GDQ with a reverse boss order run of Super Metroid. Like, there's a game right there that has always been a big part of that marathon, and they've seen basically every major category of it. But here's someone showing off a really unique run of it that, you know, not many people had really heard of before. So, yeah, bad yeet from Site's side. Let's see if Millay is able to save any time with their yeet.
And saying you're bad on commentary isn't... I mean, you might be, but it just takes practice anyway. I'd still consider myself bad at commentary, but I'm here doing my best.
What's nice about Celeste is that the community is large enough that you could always bring a decently sizable couch and have them like handle most of the weight of commentary.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't think many people really expect runners to be like the most vocal person on that couch. And Millay picking up that mixtape, Psyched already making some headway into B side here. So let's see how this goes, because Psyched is coming up now on Bub's drop, and remember, Millay had so many issues with that earlier.
Oh, wow.
Bub's drop is free for Psyched.
That looked really, really close.
It really did.
Hey, getting it is getting it. That's all you need to do. Doesn't matter how close it was.
Yep. I mean, the trick will kind of inherently be a bit close because of like the way that the room transitions go, but yeah. Sometimes it can be a little bit more monka than others.
All right, Millay also made it. Not nearly as much
first
difficulty.
Try this time. That's really good to see. You really hate for like major skips like that to end up being what causes these huge deficits or leads.
I mean, Millay is... Wow, that was really pretty. Millay is farther behind than I think they were last race when entering this chapter, but at least I don't think they're nearly as far behind as they were either. But that, I think, is in part because of Sykes' failures at the end in that one room.
Yeah, which is literally soon to be coming yet again.
Yeah, it could happen again.
Was okay. I have to be honest. Like I'm not exactly sure how the routing through that room went, but I think Psyched just did an insane backup with that one of those eye monsters. Because it looked like he had a dash that didn't quite break one of the platforms he was wanting it to, and so he ended up being able to like have just enough airtime. Okay, he's back in the difficult room that caused him so much grief earlier, but it...
Very clean.
Yep, it's good. Wow, first try. And that took him, I don't even know how long last time. I think this is 0 deaths. I think.
I think you're
getting
right
through
on
the
that.
clearly impossible room. Yep, Sight getting the 0
Wow.
deaths throughout B-side.
223 chapter. That's, I think that, okay, 1 death.
Yep,
He
he had to show us.
It's all good. It doesn't count for the time.
Yeah, and that actually kind of helps us just a tad, like with getting the 2 timers realigned, you know. Because I mean, obviously, just based on the side by side, yeah, the 1 death was intentional Bubs drop, so it was 0.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, you know, I think he. Oh wait, no, never mind. I think he probably just pulled that out, but like just knowing that it was 0 deaths, because I wasn't sure. I looked up and it looked, because of his Discord avatar, it looked like the deafen icon was muted instead. So I didn't know if he was actually in the call listening to us talk, and that's why he showed it to us. Nice feather movement so far. What a legend. Just beautiful gameplay.
Oh, looks. That's one of the things I really enjoy about this game is just how pretty the movement looks. Watching everything happen, it looks really smooth.
Yeah, Madeline's animations are also very well executed.
Mm-hmm.
I think they contribute a lot to that. I'm psyched having a little bit of an issue getting on top of that ledge there, but managing to make it work, getting into the bumper section here. As Millay is going to be taking that longer ride with those bear blocks.
I have an interesting question for you, and I'm just curious on your thoughts on it, because I just came up with it. Do you think the game would have done as well if it didn't have, like, the 8-bit type graphics that it has?
I think the aesthetic has a lot to do with the appeal, and did you find the Pico in the game or no?
I did, yes.
Yeah, so that's actually like the Pico was the original Celeste. I don't know if like you ever like read up on it, but Celeste started as that game for so the Pico 8 was like a kind of a developer's toy type thing, like just a basic computer system for developers to make retro type Commodore like games on.
Mm-hmm.
And after the success of Celeste Celeste is like I think the Pico 8 wasn't like it was a kind of underground thing, but then once people started finding out about Celeste and how fun it was, like it started kind of gaining more traction, and then people started asking for like a full game to be made, and here we are with this. So
Oh, okay.
like the retro graphics kind of feel natural when you have that origin as like a pet project on a like sort of retro gaming PC. Millay taking that kind of nasty death before taking a double death. Yeah, that sounds right too, Semi. I think it was actually made for a game jam. I couldn't remember if it was just like a like random hobby thing or that sounds right though, that it was a game jam thing.
I completely agree that it seems natural. I was just curious, like, since the aesthetics play so much a part in it, I was wondering if you think if they did change it to be, I guess, higher quality in the sense of like just pure pixel count.
Like true like hand drawn graphics as a
that's what
I think if they would have done as well like artistically with that style, it would have done as well.
Okay.
I think like as far as 8-bit graphics and its success go, I think it's just because of how well it's pulled off. because the
Yeah.
art style is just very, very well executed throughout. It's very cohesive. There's nothing that like really sticks out and doesn't make any sense in context. And like there are a lot of really, really cool elements that, you know, obviously wouldn't have been possible on the hardware that the game is kind of trying to aesthetically simulate, but like it still adds to that same atmosphere, and it still feels right. Like these kind of distortion effects through the battle and fight here, and like the way that those tendrils kind of creep around and such, like it almost reminds you of some of the like retro animations on like a PlayStation and such from like the really early 3D.
I agree with that. I thought about it and I was like, huh, the graphics do mean a lot in this game, so if they were to do it differently, I wonder if it would have had just a complete change in like thought, I guess, for people.
Yeah, well, I personally think like if the movement had been as fluid, then it would have been fine. Like as long as the movement and the story were there, then I think people would still have developed the same affection for it that they did, because I mean, as great as the art style is and as much as it contributes, it's really just a beautiful game all the way around. There's no real like one element that like this is what makes it great. Everything together. It's really a case of like the whole just being so much greater than some of its parts.
It's very true.
So
like
I did you a favor at 1943 for Psyched. Let's see what Millay ends up getting. I'm thinking Millay is probably at about like a 25-30 second deficit right now.
That sounds right. I don't think they've made much time up. Never mind. Okay. I'm just not gonna mention that. It doesn't seem like there's been a ton of things that could have made the lead a lot more different than what we were seeing earlier.
Right.
So you said
Millay just about
1943,
like
2020.
Yeah, so just about 30-40 seconds back. Not insurmountable, that's for sure. Especially when we still got Summit left, as they're getting right to the end of the battle and climb here, if you will.
I mean, that's what we said last time. Not a ton happened, but it's a new race, new things, new mistakes.
Yep, exactly.
Like, is that?
I mean, remember we saw Psyched get kind of shaky in parts of the summit. He took a few deaths, so
That's very true.
It's not beyond the realm of possibility that something really drastic could happen this time around.
And it's still Millay's best stage, so who knows? I guess like the art style for the chapter complete isn't pixelated, and it's still very, very pretty. So
yeah, like I'm sure they would have been able to accomplish the same effects somehow. It just like it just seems like obviously a natural design choice, and I mean no reason to fix what isn't broken. Ultimately, I guess.
Oh, that's true.
So Psyched, this nice opening movement here, beautiful dashes.
Alright, so wait, who do I pause then? I have to pause Millay. I got really confused because
Because of the timing difference.
Yeah, that's the one thing about this game that's like it's good, just not for restreaming.
Yeah, it's very difficult to actually like get the timers. As a viewer, it's a more challenging game to watch than some because of that focus on internal timer. It almost makes you wish for like a tournament edition that just didn't have any of the cutscenes or anything else to skip.
It would be interesting, and I know Celeste, the developers, are obviously a part of the speedrun community to an extent. It'd be interesting if something like that were to become a reality, I guess.
You know, Psyched with that kind of rage pause death there, so
Could be the first of many.
yeah, it's not infallible at all on this summit at the moment. Okay, so we've got Millay right on Site's heels.
Look at all these dream blocks. No, Millay.
Just like a weird momentum dash there.
Alright. That works.
Beautiful dashes through these dream blocks. Millay
Alright.
kind of unable to... Like, Millay just now getting to the dream blocks as Site about to be making his way out.
Yeah, it looked like Millay had a little bit of issues. But for the most part, Site had pretty good section.
Yeah, chat's saying there was a 39-second difference at 1,000 meters, so... Not exactly looking like Millay's set today, unfortunately.
It's probably like a 5-second death there.
It could certainly come back with more mistakes like that, but
Like that?
yep, yet another 5 seconds or so. Site's really waiting there. Did not want that Dust Buddy to end up causing him troubles yet again.
It's much
Beautiful
better
cycles there.
better just wait the cycle rather than risking it again, another death.
Yeah, Millay definitely in a better
Ooh.
position now.
Very good. Continues going like that, then we will see a shift in leads, probably closer to the real summit.
And so Psyched is leaving 1,500 at about 24:26. And Millay should be leaving probably about 46. Or why am I saying 46?
46? That would have been impressive from where they were at that point.
56 or so.
Yep.
I got one of the numbers right. That's what counts, right?
That's like 30 if I can math. If I heard the first number right. Okay, death, 2 deaths.
Yeah, this ain't looking too great. He can't keep making these types of mistakes.
Oh, we should be live, but now I have to fix the video feeds.
Yeah, so
Okay, so this is Millay's gameplay.
Okay. Okay, can they hear us?
They should hear you.
Okay, great. So yeah, in case you didn't hear that from the back, right now it's Millay's gameplay that we're seeing. Even it looks like it's synchronized, but it's just Millay's side that's currently playing right now. We are working. Okay, there we go. Looks like Psyched is. What happened?
Let me double check that I have the right gameplay up. I'm gonna.
As respectfully as possible. I don't think you do. What?
I get your concerns. Let me close that. And let me open this. Okay. I'm trying my best here. Okay.
Yeah, no, like
All right.
I'm just like, what could have happened?
Okay,
over
this
that,
is correct. This is what you're seeing right now is correct.
Okay.
But I cannot tell you where in the stage that is.
Yeah, I'm trying to see checkpoint numbers. A lot of the summit starts looking a little bit similar from a viewer perspective.
Okay. Their timers are desynced. Let me fix that.
Yeah, because it's definitely kind of hard to monitor progress. Like, so it looks like Psyched is at about checkpoint 20 or so. Yeah, Psyched just hitting checkpoint 19. Okay, so Psyched is still in. Wait, I didn't see that.
Psyched is at 17.
Well, what about Millay?
Millay is at like
in
11.
Yeah, what? What happened? What?
I am sorry about my internet dying. That's very inconvenient.
Yeah, that we need to ask Psyched about that, because that does not make sense.
I will
what?
Yeah, I'm gonna ask them to tell me their times afterward, just to verify that I do have them on the right sides. As far as on my end, I think I do.
If Psyched was playing like he is right now,
wait,
then
hold
I
on.
can totally see it.
Yeah, it must be right, because we can look at their segment times. Psyched is at 8:35, and Millay is at hitting 8. So it has to be the right side.
That is, that's exactly right. Wow. Oh man, that's wow.
That's really unfortunate. I'm so sorry.
It's no worries. I mean, I'm sure like when we upload the race, we could probably pull the races from the individual streamers' VODs. So, and we could definitely take a peek over there and see what in the world happened to Psyched, or at least like ask him in the post race interview.
I'm still gonna make them tell me their times.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, and Millay clenching this game 2 with a 30, or no, actually, 30-12. Wow, that was pretty unexpected. So it's coming down to this race 3 now, rather than just being kind of a race for points. That's pretty wild. Wow.
I'm not gonna add the point until I get confirmation on times, but I'm fairly sure it's right, but
yeah, I don't see how it could be wrong based on what you were telling me with the segment times.
Yep, with that. Looking at chat, Millay did win. And Psyched saying that it was a big oof, so.
Big oof, apparently. Wow. And so this is exactly what we were talking about. Millay has the, on average, best summit in the league right now, and this is where it shows. And meanwhile, Psyched ending up having a barely sub 10 summit due to, I guess, just a bunch of deaths. Yeah, 39 seconds in lead. Okay, so he died at the very end of the last room in 2.5K. So that probably did a lot.
All right.
Yeah, making up a 39-second deficit. Making up a 39-second deficit in any one segment is nuts. Making it up in the summit, jeez. And the score is 1-1, so whoever wins this one will be taking home that W. It's not super often that you end up actually getting these race 3s that decide the whole thing like this. So this one will be pretty exciting, that's for sure.
Not sure why the internet died in the first place. It happened earlier this stream too. It was just after the first race of the day, and I guess there's nothing wrong with it because like I haven't dropped any frames. I guess I did just restart the stream, but before that I didn't have any dropped frames, and everything's been working fine, but just decides to die.
And it was weird how it managed to come back relatively quickly like that within like a minute or so.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that is either. Oh, I'll have to look into it after the stream, I guess. Not sure what could be causing it.
Well, in any event, we've got both our racers ready yet again to kick things off for this final race of this set of 3. I'm pretty pumped for this, not gonna lie.
Get them synced up here.
Now, what are you kind of expecting to see from a match like this? Because it seems that Psyched, I haven't seen enough of Psyched's gameplay to know how much he's affected by nerves, but it definitely seems like a lot of his errors have been in that very last chapter.
Yeah, that's very true. And since that is Millay's like strongest chapter, I'd say is like, and as we just saw in that last race, that changed the lead drastically. One person playing absolutely terrible in the chapter, one person playing fantastic. And as for mistakes, it seemed like Millay made significantly less big mistakes, I guess. Because like in that first run we had Bub's drop failed twice, and some bigger deaths at the end of rooms. But then Psych seemed to slip up on some other spots, so I think Millay could probably pull it out here.
Definitely. I think it really just depends on... Oh, and it's looking real good for Millay with a situation like this emerging. If Millay is able to build upon this early lead, then it could all be pretty well over. The way I see it, if Millay enters Summit ahead, it's pretty well over. But if Millay enters Summit behind, Psych does have a decent chance to pull it out if he manages to have a good Summit, but currently he's 0 for 2 on this session, so I don't really know. It really just depends on how he ends up playing, ultimately.
Yeah. But I
Ball's
mean,
in his court.
Yeah, even if we know that Millay has the best Summit, we could still see such a huge lead change like we just did. That was 39 seconds going into Summit. That's
Something
almost
like that, yeah.
That's a huge lead, and still losing that, and losing by probably like 30 seconds at that. That's such a huge time loss that we could see again. I'd rather not see again, but
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it just kind of happens. You always hate to see huge time losses. Like, I'd much rather see a race won by one person's, like, skill and performance than another person's deficit and their failures.
mm-hmm.
But obviously, I mean, as much as you would like to see a race end up one way, you have to be a realist, and a lot of things are going to happen in races that you may not entirely expect or want, you know?
Maybe you have to expect the unexpected for a lot of it.
Last room of City is hard. That is definitely true. A lot of people think that City is just a complete breeze, and most of it is, but there are a couple of little tricky spots. I think
Yes.
like there's a lot in this game that kind of gets overshadowed by some of the more difficult stuff. So there's a lot that people would think is easy that is not really very easy at all.
Just like the dream blocks in general. I remember when I first saw it, I was like, oh yeah, I could do that. And
Yeah, and the way you have to do the routing to like specifically hit the dream blocks from a given angle, from a given position, it's some of these specific dashes that they're doing are very, very precise to get through at the right times. Especially like on some of the like skip related ones. That's really where they're doing some really impressive stuff with the dream blocks.
so you have to hit them at the right angle with the dash, and then you have to like jump out of them half the time.
Yeah, and then having to do galaxy hypers on occasion, just
Mhm.
ugh. And so Madeline is now awake as Millay is finishing up chapter 2 with a nice sub 340, it looks like.
Yep, for sure. 331.
Just barely. Yep. Let's see what Psyched is able to pull out here at 335. So 4-second deficit at the moment.
That is.
As
I still don't think we've seen Millay in the lead this early. So.
no, we definitely haven't. And it's also worth noting, I don't think I'd actually said this from the stat sheet. Old Sight is apparently Millay's worst chapter. Interesting.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
I wonder if that's from just like Even though the dream block dashes are pretty precise, like I wonder if the average time is just really, really optimized for it.
You know what? I bet part of that is because of Demo Dash. Because
Well,
we
then
saw.
Demo Dash is in chapter 3, not 2.
Oh, Demo Dash. Oh, my bad. I was thinking you said this chapter.
Oh yeah, no, sorry. No, this is the resort. The last chapter was Old Site.
Yep, I just got my chapters confused.
All good, no worries. Yeah, sometimes even though the names should like only correspond with one chapter, like sometimes it's easy to just kind of mentally lose track. It's
I mean,
weird,
this is an old site,
right?
technically.
It's a pretty forsaken looking building.
I mean, I guess it's good, I guess, that their worst stage is right at the beginning. So,
Yeah,
like, if they were here watching, which they aren't, maybe they are on the stream, but if they're watching and they can tell, like, if they have a lead now, then they could very well just hold on to that for the entire race.
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure off your shoulders once you get through a room like that,
Mm-hmm.
or a chapter like that. But of course, now having to contend with all of chapter 3. And Psyched really not going down without a fight. I mean, he's really staying in this, that's for sure.
No, I mean, they're still ending with really good times. It's just, I mean, they're both really good players, so sometimes it's just not enough.
Yeah, sometimes it just comes down to who's playing better in that moment, not even necessarily like through an entire day. It's kind of crazy. If you play Mirror Temple Mirrored, then do you just call it Temple? Asking the real question in the chat right
I don't want to think about playing Celeste Mirrored at all.
now. That'd be a weird one.
Alright, so their lead, Millay's lead has shrunk significantly after dying twice.
Yeah, but now Psyched having a couple of issues in that laundry room section as well, so they're exiting just about even. I think Millay lost a little, like maybe a second.
Ooh, right there.
Oh, that without dying, that's a pretty that's a pretty rough time loss.
Okay, not having too many issues in the elevator shaft. I think that's what we saw either last race or the race before. I'm curious if Millay will go for the checkpoint this time or not. Nope. Alright.
And it worked out for him. I mean, can't argue with results.
Hey, that's fine. Just the first race.
Psyched
Just
not
put me on
getting a
the
good
edge.
jump. Oh, and he didn't
Ooh.
get the checkpoint. Oh, no.
Man.
That's bad. That is so bad.
Okay, second try.
I mean, yeah, but man.
Yeah, it's still not good at all.
Psyched was already at a good, like, 5-second deficit. Well, after that, like, after the mistake right before elevator shaft, he's probably getting closer to 10, but it's certainly closer to, like, 25, 30 now.
Ooh, yeah.
Millay has just, like, really rung himself up into just an exceptional position in this race. If Millay can just hold on to this lead, it's free. I mean, we still have it. Allegedly, Resort is supposed to be Psyched's best chapter, but as we can see, just failing Demo Dash can have such a negative impact on your time.
I guess what I was trying to say earlier that didn't make sense because this is not Millay's worst, but like for averages, I'm sure Demo Dash has such a huge impact on that because if you get it, then
each
you
fail
save
is such a
so much
significant time
But
waste.
yeah, that's why I was thinking like if you said it was the worst, then even if it is the worst, a lot of that's probably just Demo Dash in itself.
Right, just like one player failing it more so than the rest of the league.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 19 seconds lead from Millay according to chat, so just under 20. Wow. That's incredible. Very, very unfortunate from Sykes' side there as Millay moving through Golden Ridge and with some pretty exceptional movements so far. Really bringing those dashes home.
Oh.
Oh, but taking a first death there. Okay, nice second attempt on that room.
Not too bad.
Millay died because no Archie. God. Alright, let's see here.
Looking pretty good overall. We got to see how this goes. I don't think this has gone well for Millay yet. Alright.
Yeah, these moving box sections, I'm sure Millay's worst enemy right now. Beautiful dash work though. Marvelous, wow.
Just sometimes there isn't a lot to say, it looks so pretty.
Yeah,
all...
Millay is on top of his game right now. This is incredible. Psych taking a death there. I believe that was his first or second in this level.
I think it's second.
Yeah,
Third.
Millay with that momentum dash.
Oh, has to go down. That's fine though.
Keeping towards the wall.
Very
Millay
good.
is just ripping apart Golden Ridge right now, man.
Yeah, this is going extremely well.
And look at how close he played to that spike field just to get that little bit of extra time back.
It scares me every single time.
These guys are they're really optimizing just the little bits in the game too. The things that don't even save you a full second, just a few frames. Beautiful stuff.
Ah, I think that's the first death I've noticed. And maybe second, but still.
Yeah, at least in Golden Ridge alone. Oh, extremely.
252.
Just unheard of. Wow. Always gotta love the ending to chapter 4.
Wait, that's 252. Psych's got a 245, so. Huh. Must have saved time off of that. I guess I didn't realize how good Psych was as well. Or isn't that? Let me gather my thoughts here for a second. Okay. So I guess I didn't realize how much how well Psych's chapter 4 went. Not a full yeet. Test. Alright, I apologize guys, we're having some more difficulties here. Looks like Discord's just being a little strange. My internet's okay this time. But looks like we're just having a little issues reconnecting so we can get them watching. For some reason it just decided to drop. Looks like Millay still has the lead here going into, I believe is this 5B? 4B? I'm bad at chapters. This is 5 because Ridge is 4. That was a strange mistake. Just decided to jump off. Alright, so apologize for not commentating on the gameplay right now. Trying to get my co-commentator back up in here. However, looking over, it looks like they both got Bub's drop. So it looks like everything is going well for them. That's all we need to see. That's the main thing. Alright, now I can't see the gameplay because Discord decided to open in front of it. Alright, yep, so looks like Millay has a bigger lead than I think they started with. I'm not entirely sure though, could be wrong here. Alright, waking up in the new one. Alright, so it looks like for both in the, I guess I'd call this the distorted section of the chapter. Wow, Millay is so close to dying there. That looked really, really close.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Alright.
Perfect, perfect.
So they both
live
got
again?
Bub. Yep, we're still live. The OBS was fine the entire time. It was just Discord.
Okay. Yeah, so sorry about that. We had to change the Discord region. I don't understand what's going on today with
I've had this
everything.
I had this issue before in like an actual server. I don't know why. But they both got Bub's drop first try. Millay still kept their lead.
Very nice to hear. And of course, like taking a death right there. Not and you know, I think that's actually this is the room like right after the one that Psyched previously had so many issues in. I also just really love what Theo says here. This is clearly impossible.
Yeah, he just gives up. He's like, nah. I like how skeptical he becomes. He's like, this isn't canon, right?
Right.
There's no way this is natural. Oh, alright. I think I have to pause then. I believe this is the gameplay I have to pause. I don't remember. Probably. Nope, I was completely wrong. Alright.
Yay. 5B
Okay,
is
there we
canon
go.
because it can be used to further the plot. Chat out here with the real knowledge.
Theo's just lying to us.
So, did Millay end up making some mistakes through the like A side of Mirror Temple though? Because it looks like their lead is a bit smaller than it was earlier.
It's possible. I didn't. Well, there's the lead change. I think I didn't catch it because I was more focusing on fixing the issues that we were having. I tried.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you at all.
Yeah, I kept looking over and I was like, oh, they both got Bub's drop. That's great. And besides that, I didn't catch much. But now the lead has changed because Millay died twice.
Yeah, and they were pretty substantial deaths too.
3
And missing that
times.
golden feather again.
This is not good. This is not.
And
what
those
we want
golden
to
feathers
see.
can be so unforgiving because if you do what Millay just did and like undershoot it like that, you don't have recourse. You can't turn the feather fast enough to get Madeline back towards the new feather. It's really, really dumb.
Yep, so now the lead has changed entirely now.
Yeah, let's see
Pretty
if Scythe can
decent
maintain
lead,
this.
too.
Still got. Yeah, but Scythe still does have a good 14 minutes of gameplay left, so could certainly see that lead swing back the other way yet again.
And we thought it was over last race, and it clearly wasn't, so...
Yeah, and it looks like Millay is at least a little bit flustered by the deaths, taking a little bit of extra time to go past that like first bumper room.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty crazy though that those like handful of deaths that Millay took ended up changing the lead literally in reverse. It looks like Millay is about as behind as they were ahead and taking another death. That's not helping matters at all. This is Millay has a lot of work cut out for him. But
Must have been
remember
just,
the
like,
last race? It worked out.
I think it's a lot of just like the surprise. Like, if they are paying attention to it, it's like you have this big lead, and all of a sudden you just make a mistake, maybe same mistake a couple times, and just all of a sudden your lead's gone and you're that far behind. And you have to play catch up now.
Yep, it can be really daunting, that's for sure. But it's all about just kind of ignoring the like the what's the word I'm looking for? The self-critical part of yourself that's like I should just give up this race. I don't have a chance of winning, and just do what you can and see what happens.
It was something I was restreaming for. I don't remember. I'm fairly sure I was restreaming for it. I don't remember what it was, but somebody, they thought they were losing, so they started throwing. They were in the lead though, and they didn't know that. So they threw away their lead because they thought they were losing.
Wow, that's insane.
Mm-hmm.
I bet that was just a huge.
I remember after we told them, they were not happy. But you just gotta.
I'm not surprised.
No, you just gotta keep going, even though you don't think you have the hope. And especially here, it's like in GSA setting, it's like, oh yeah, you can get more points if you finish within this set amount of time for some tournaments. So there's more incentive to finish anyway.
Yeah, and I mean, like with races in particular, and with this game, like there's nothing that's free until like you touch that flagpole at the very top of the summit.
Yep.
And so, even if just a matter of like, you know, you never know what'll happen, that's still enough to really warrant giving it your all throughout the entire race. It's just you really don't know what your opponent's going to end up doing. Nice battle and fighting so far, though.
The only mistake I saw in this entire section was, I believe, Psyched falling through the... Oh, and that one.
I was about to say, and that.
Yeah, was Psyched falling through the developer intended shortcut. That was it. So, it's going very well for both of them.
Yep, just giving battle and what for, working their way into the
Oh, that's another death. No, that's another death. Millay. No.
Get it together. 1954 text box on Psyched side. So, what about Millay's? Thinking Millay is going to end up with like a 19 and 24 or something like that. A 19 or a 24. I'm not expecting him to rewind time.
That would be impressive.
It would be. I mean, it'd certainly be some valuable speedrunning tech, that's for sure.
Okay, that's a death, and that's at 2019.
Hey, what do you know?
Imagine getting 2019 in 2019.
Hey-o.
Alright, Psyched has just died, and I believe they died in the previous room as well. So, looks like there are some slip-ups happening now.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of what we've just come to expect from Psyched, is for whatever reason, he just can't seem to clench out that last third of the run as well.
What was that?
He literally just ran right into it. What?
Was it...
Was he thinking that he needed to avoid a laser or something? I don't understand that.
I was thinking maybe he was like trying to make, like, just restart because he wasn't going to make it with a feather, but...
That must be it. Yeah, he missed the last feather, so...
Oh, he did? Okay, I didn't see that. I just saw that he decided to die. It didn't look
completely lost to me either. So that's...
But all those deaths, and look how close it is now.
Yep.
They're both finished. They're both climbing the last bit. Millay having a little trouble.
Having issues with the quarter.
Okay, 21,
I'm pretty sure
26.
That's been a common theme throughout this run for Millay, actually. I'm pretty sure I've seen them do that numerous times.
So this is about 11 seconds. Which, from the beginning of that chapter, it was 9 seconds in the opposite direction, but from where it was halfway through that chapter.
Oh man, yeah. So in the end, even though like there was already a pretty large lead change during that chapter, there still had the potential for there to be even more. It just so happened that Scythe just made a number of mistakes right on that ending there.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, and Summit decides it yet again. Certainly a Monka-esque moment, that is for sure.
Alright, it's looking pretty good.
You just saw a man do 7D and you're traumatized. Yeah, some of the like bonus levels in this game are just they're not made for humans to do.
I haven't looked at any of the D sides yet. I've seen a 100% run, but I haven't seen the D sides yet because those are the new ones, right?
I believe, yeah, they're custom, so.
Yeah.
And Scythe getting up to 1K. Still rocking a decent lead. And Millay just keeps having issues with corners, I've been noticing. Either Millay will, like, kind of just barely not get up on top of a corner and have to keep redoing grabs. So, geez, Scythe taking a double death there. That's not good at all.
Yeah, we've noticed that in multiple cases. Just, for some reason, corners are difficult.
Oh, and ending up getting that. Oh,
this lead is almost entirely gone.
Yeah, and Scythe got just like a really weird angle on that moon block that caused yet another death.
Almost any mistake can just change the lead. Like that?
Like
that's
that?
a lead.
Yep. And, yep, Millay dominating at the moment. Getting to that next checkpoint room. It's neck and neck, though. It's back to Scythe. Okay, we've got ourselves a race. Let's see how this ends up going into the next bits of Summit. So we've got 3 more of these sections, and then the actual Summit proper. And one mistake can either solidify this lead or end up completely changing it.
And I'd say they're just as likely either way.
Yep.
There we go.
Truly... Okay, so Millay has now the pretty strong advantage.
There we go again.
Yeah. Millay's coming away now with around 10 seconds.
And again.
And even more. And yet another one. Just cannot get started on this room. And I mean, if you're watching the inputs, it's pretty fast. So I'm not surprised that it's causing him a fair bit of trouble. And Millay...
5.
About to be exiting. 5. Yeah, and Millay is on to 2K while Scythe's still trying to finish up 1.5.
6.
This is bad news for Scythe.
And especially since this Millay's best stage. I mean, we could definitely see some mistakes, but I don't know if any of the mistakes could be big enough individually. Has to be kind of like...
I really don't think that there could be, honestly.
Just need small mistakes add up. Let's see what happens. See that? That movement right there. That's so pretty. Oh, that's not the worst, but
That's about the lead Scythe had on Millay. Yeah, but then again, like this is Millay's like kind of home turf, if you will. compared to Psych just not being able to perform here. Real quick, could you expand on that acronym real quick? Just because for whatever reason, it's not ringing a bell for me. That was actually the reason I denied the message the first time. I didn't snap to what it was. Oh, okay, yeah, okay. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, when I first saw it, I was like, but then I was like, it sounds familiar at the same time.
Yeah, and the auto scroller skip saves. There's a lot of stuff throughout this entire summit section. Right, I just, for whatever reason, my brain wasn't working. Ooh, and beautiful movement here.
Alright, looks like Millay is just getting to the end of Mirror Temple.
Ooh, and Psyched ending up taking yet another couple of deaths. I was gonna say single, but nope, it's multiple. Yeah, then Millay. Oh, and Psyched, nice door skips here. At least something is going decently well. Okay, so if Psych is gonna get a comeback, this is where it's gonna have to happen. And unfortunately, it's that point where we're contingent on Millay making some sort of mistakes in order for Psych to really have an opportunity. So that's checkpoint 27, 26. Moving our way right on up the summit as Psych now joining. So we're about 5 checkpoints apart. Millay still showing some of the general movement sloppiness around corners that we've been seeing this whole run. Not entirely sure what's been going on there, but it looks like it's still going to be clean enough to potentially pick up this W, though.
I mean, everything else looks really, really good.
Yeah, neither of them taking a death so far. Very, very nice movement so far with those grabs and boosts. Okay, Millay now past checkpoint 20. Psyched making his way over there. It's getting really close. Yep, flag 10 or flag 3 death could be what's... Oh, but Psyched taking a death of his own. That's not boding well for his chances at all. Beautiful dashes from Millay, though. Some of these are just like... why would you even go for them? But he's making them look easy. This is just wild from Millay's side. Just a very, very solid finish. Yep, Psyched just cannot pick up the momentum anymore.
And I think
yeah,
that would solidify it.
Unless Millay makes some really, really wild errors on the very, very ending here, but I'm pretty well doubting it. Getting real close to the top 5 here.
5.
Oh, but
back down to 5.
And still nowhere near Psyched. Yeah, Psyched is definitely a good 30 seconds back. And Millay going to be making his way through these last golden feather sections. God, just watching this movement makes my hands sore. Man, the first time I played through this, I had to spend so long on the summit section that, like, my hands were dead afterwards.
I believe it's hard, especially since you have to spend a lot more time as a casual going through it.
Yeah, and just repeating the same segments over and over.
And there
Millay,
it is.
Yep, 30-19. Millay picking up the round 2 and round 3 wins to pull off the set. GG's to Millay for this win. After seeing the results of that stage 1, I really was not quite expecting Millay to end up pulling off these round 2 and 3 wins, but he did it. It happened, and here we are. Very, very nice gameplay.
We had the big mistakes in the first race. We had the Bubs drop fail twice. Then we had Demo Dash fail as
Psyched with a 30-51. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. Let's see if we can get either or maybe even both of these guys in for a post-race interview. Both of them wishing each other GG's. Psyched taking a bit of a moment to lament about the last two summits. But it's over now. No need to worry any longer. I really hope that Psyched comes in here because I'd love to ask him about what was happening during that. Was that the ending of Mirror Temple, or where exactly was it that huge lead change happened in race 2?
it was the end of Mirror Temple. That's what we said. But I'd still like to talk to him about it. Looks like Millay it's too late, so we can't get them in there. So
no worries. Yeah, and unfortunately, Sight's going to be out as well. That is, oh man. So if you're curious to see what happened in that race, I would definitely say go check out Psyched's VOD on this last race. And definitely GG's, because, I mean, God, pulling off... I think it's certainly worth noting that all three of these races, I believe both these guys got 30s. So that's pretty wild, the consistency there. And so... I mean, not a whole lot else to say. Pretty good set of races. Wasn't at all one-sided for sure, and especially that last race was certainly exciting. I couldn't have really asked for a better first Celeste match to commentate, and not really for a better co-com. So thank you so much, Artemis, for helping me out here.
Yep, thank you. I don't know, just for being here. It was very fun to commentate. I don't do it a ton, but I did a lot today, so it was very fun to watch.
Yeah, the SM64 earlier, and now this.
I did more than that. I think I did both SM64 and like half of Diddy Kong Racing as well.
Oh, you did half of DKR? Wow.
I didn't have anybody, so I was just kind of YOLOing it because I don't know the game.
You could have asked me to talk about my childhood. That game was like half of my childhood. That game was like the first game, along with SM64, that I remember like watching my sisters play growing up.
It was one of the few games I had, but I just don't really have any memories of it.
Oh, dude, I have plenty. My sister spent so long trying to finish off that final boss fight with Wizpig.
Oh.
And yeah, I remember once too, because I think like when you first beat Wizpig, it has like a bit of a fake ending, and they thought that I'd reset the console because I was like a little kid, like maybe 4 or something, and they were like, "Did you touch it?" And I was like, "I didn't touch it. I didn't do anything." they didn't believe me for a minute, but then they realized that like stuff got unlocked, and then they were like, "Oh, okay." But
false accusation.
Anyway, yeah, right. But that will be it for our broadcast day today at GSA. Come back around tomorrow. We've got more races than you can really shake a stick at. More Celeste, more SM64. It's all coming up again tomorrow. But in case you can't make it tomorrow, we thank you so much for watching whatever you've seen today, whether it was just this race or all of them. And I hope that you'll stop back sometime in the future because we love having y'all. And again, I am Electric. It has been an absolute blast commentating. And thank all of you so much for watching. See y'all around.
Yep, see you guys later.